Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Preccelerator University workshop. Today, I'm very excited to have our speaker, Michael Castiglione, talk to us about sales and sales training and building sales teams. He's an expert at this. He's quite engaging. If you were here for his little pre-talk, you'll know that you're going to be doing some exercises today. So please be engaged, and I will encourage you to put your cameras on so we can see your faces throughout the next hour. This is a recorded session, and this will be up on our YouTube Preccelerator channel, where we put all of our workshops in after each session. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and we'll get right into it.
Awesome. Like I said, I like to at least tell you where we're headed. So first and foremost, let me just see by a show of hands, how many of you are in sales? Which means I know I don't want to, everybody's in sales, right? No matter what you do, my wife who's an accountant, she doesn't do sales, but she sells, right? That's not, how many of you are either a founder who has direct responsibility of business development or your role is business development, just by a show of hands? So a couple of you, all right? The goal here today is to talk about mindset first and foremost. What are limited beliefs that get in our way? Number two, we're going to start to look at what are we saying when we go out there? Whether you're going out looking for funding, that's a form of business development, or whether you're going out looking for prospects, what we're talking about today is going to work for you, okay? Then we're going to look at care. And I'll go into what that acronym means. Trust me, I know it's not misspelled, but what are we doing to grow our business with intention? And I want you all to create a self-accountability plan and to create a cadence of how you follow up with people. And if there's time, Len and I were talking earlier today, we'll probably end here around 1:15. We'll do just a temperature. We'll do questioning techniques. Most likely won't have time for that, but as we get started, I want two things. I want a couple of volunteers come off mute, but everyone, I want you to put it in the chat. I could grow my business if only what? And I'll give you some context. There's three buckets under business development. There's marketing, right? That's the passive building of your brand, your cohesive message. That's not what we're talking about today. So we can't talk about marketing today. Number two is prospecting. That's the active pursuit of business conversations. So that's networking, knocking on doors, using social selling, LinkedIn. That's going out and actively creating relationships, maybe nurturing your current clients. That's prospecting. And then number three is sales. So sales is when someone raises their hand and said, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in learning more about what you do and how we could work together. So when it comes to prospecting and sales, what could you do a little bit better? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I want to make sure that I'm in the ballpark as I talk through specific examples today. Love it. High quality leads, right? If everyone knocking on our door was a $1 million business ready to rock and roll, our best margin, our best deals, love it. We had better quality leads, right? I hear it from my clients a lot. My leads are garbage until they're not, right? Because you got to sift through them. You got to qualify them. And they're qualifying you, okay? The follow-up, absolutely. Again, I'm curious how often we forget to follow up. And what you're going to learn today is a lot of it is on us. Better understanding of where to find the business. Well, for those of you who don't have lists, I use ZoomInfo. It's a great list. It's quite expensive for those who are maybe just getting started. ZoomInfo, I think it runs around $15K to get started, but you can use something like BuzzFile. BuzzFile is free and it has good information. You can create lead lists through BuzzFile, and I'll throw the link in the chat. Best way to engage them, love it. Articulate my value prop better. Ben, love what you're saying. If you want to volunteer in about 15 minutes, I'm going to give you the best value proposition you can ever say and how to engage. All right. Growing your network. This is great. Great. Got a lot of good challenges. And as you look in the chat, how many of you are kind of resonating with what other people are saying? Kind of exists, right? Yeah, well, you probably all can raise two hands. I want this to be it's a rhetorical question, but why do our challenges exist? When you look at that, you're probably looking at being like, hey, me too. Yeah, that applies to me. I wish that. Well, I want you all to look in your mirror, and it's not Len looking back at you, but why do these challenges exist? It's because of us. Each and every one of these challenges exist because of us. And I'm a firm believer, every time you point the finger, you got three more pointing back at you. So that's why we get started with mindset. When it comes to success in business development, it starts with the balance of three components. And what I find in most executives, entrepreneurs, business professionals, is that there's a complete misbalance in these three components. So first and foremost, attitude. Attitude's your belief, your drive. Do you have the confidence that there's prospects out there for you? Rhetorical question, do not raise your hand. How many of you who are founders out there at one point had that self-doubt? Do I even do this? Should I even move forward? No one, don't raise your hand, but that's a limited belief. Number two is the behavior. There's no such thing as seasonal sales unless you're selling Christmas trees. What I mean by that is most business professionals, they go after business until they don't need to. And then they shift to operations, then they shift their focus. And then they realize, oh, we got to go get some more business. And then they come back to business development. Do you build consistent behaviors? Something you do every day, week, month. And that's what we're doing today. So we're going to build those consistent behaviors today. And the third is technique. No one wants a 1980s used car salesperson showing up trying to trick them. Fair? No one wants that person. We don't want it in front of us. So your prospects aren't going to want it in front of you. Whenever I'm listening to calls and someone will be like, hey, Mike, how'd it go? My first question is, would you buy from yourself? If you listen to your call, if you had a dire need, would you buy from yourself? So is your technique at a point where it's consultative? It's in control. You're asking good questions, not telling and giving away free consulting, but rather getting your prospect to understand a compelling reason to do something different through their voice. That's a 2023 technique. So, and we're going to talk about some technique in a prospecting perspective today, not as much as a sales perspective today. So when it comes to prospecting, it all starts with what's between our ears. I am going to ask for a couple of volunteers, and I'll call on a couple of people in a second. But I want you to take your pen, everybody, take 30 seconds. And I want you to write down what's one limited belief that you have in business development. It could be people don't want to answer the phone. I don't want to bother people. I'm too expensive. I'm too small. I'm too new. It's too soon. I could keep going. But what's in between your ears? What's getting in the way of business development? And I'll ask for a volunteer. Come off mute. You don't have to do anything but tell me what your limited belief is. And we're going to take, no matter what you come up with, I'm going to shift it to be empowering. So give me a volunteer. Come off mute. Who's a brave soul? Go ahead, Karen.
Yes, just hearing no all the time after multiple no's, getting kicked down.
All right. Raise your hand if you felt that. I'm getting no, I'm getting no, I'm getting no. So I'm going to take it through the belief wheel, Karen. So first and foremost, you hear the word no. Maybe I'm not valuable enough. Maybe there isn't a need, which starts to receive my judgment is, well, I don't want to reach out to that person because they're probably going to tell me no. I might not double down on my efforts. So my actions might just start to be a little bit more internalized, maybe a little less externalized. My results being, I'm still getting out there, but not at the same level, reaffirming my belief of no. Okay. I want to change that. Karen, no is my second favorite word. If I get a no, I'm extremely happy. I don't feel great. I'm not going to lie to you all. I'm not like doing my party dance when I get a yes. but it's my second favorite word. My belief needs to be, I did a strong sales process if I get a no, because they didn't give me a think it over. I do a session every couple months on why everyone gives us that think it over. That's the kiss of death. So my belief needs to be, I want a clear yes, or I want a clear no, Karen. No is my second favorite word. My judgment needs to be, I need to ask great questions to learn, are they the right prospect for me? I'm qualifying them. I can give them a no. And if they've given me a no, it's for the right reason. So I'm going to double down on my actions, getting in front of twice as many people, because I know it's quality with quantity. Don't just fill your calendars to fog a glass. It's quality with quantity. So I need to keep hearing those no's, because let's be honest, if everyone gave a yes, it would be the easiest job in the world and the competition would be incredible. What all of us do is hard. It is hard. So my results are going to be, I'm looking for two words, a clear yes or a clear no. Reaffirming my belief is, it's not about whether they want to do business or me, it's whether or not they have a need. And I want you all to walk away with today is, not every single person that you meet will be a qualified prospect, will be a qualified lender. Not everyone is going to be your next partner. You want to make sure that it's synergistic and as a partnership. So from an attitude perspective, I want to make sure that no is my second favorite word. That's an empowering belief versus, all right, it's a frustration. It's something that I don't want to do. It's something I want to embrace. Okay. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. Let's do one more quick one. Ryan, I think I saw you sneak off mute. You want to jump in there? What was one of the limited beliefs you were having?
That my prospects don't want to talk to me. When I get on the phone, they get so many phone calls.
All
I don't
right.
even need to say more.
I'm glad I called on, because that's really resonates with this. They both do. Raise your hand if you've had that limited belief. I don't want to be a bother. Right? How many times have you picked up the phone and called someone, they said, oh, I'm in the middle of something? I don't change my cadence. Why'd you pick up the phone? I have the belief that what I have is a great solution for the right person. So if I have the belief I'm bothering people, I'm going to be quick, or I'm going to start to pitch, or I'm even going to hang up the phone, or I'm not going to even reach out in the first place. I don't want to be a bother. People, you're not selling knives at dinner. You're not trying to sell ice to Eskimos. You're on this call because you believe in your product and service. You're on this call because you have value to provide, whether it's to the personal community or to the professional community, whether you're B2C or B2B. So your actions need to be doubled down to get in front of more people. People are busy. However, same thing with the no, you got to give them permission to say it's not the right time or I'm not interested. My results are going to be, I'm going to have great relationships. I'm going to reach out and want to have excitement. I don't reach out for sales. I reach out for relationships. So as you change that perspective of they don't want to talk to me, it's I've got something to give them. I've got something to learn about them. And there's ways that we can grow together. Because let's be honest, there's not one person on this call where the relationship is one directional. If you're doing business, they're benefiting for some way. And if they're using their service, obviously you're growing. So reaffirming your belief is I need to talk to more people. Okay. When you hang up here at 1:15, you should right now write down 3 names. Who are 3 people you're going to reach out to? And I'm going to give you the tools of how to reach out to them. But who are 3 people you're going to call as soon as this call is over? Take 30 seconds right now. And I want you to write down your empowering belief. Okay? I'm giving you 2 tasks at once. I want you to write down your empowering belief. And I want you to write it on either a Post-it or somewhere where you're going to see it. When you leave here today, I don't want it hidden in a notebook. I want it to be somewhere every time you pick up the phone, every time you log in to do business, every time you leave the house or your office, it's somewhere you can see it. I don't have a marching band or a cheer camp every time I get up in the morning. I wish I did. but it's just me. I don't have that person in the corner who's cheering you on. You are your best advocate. So put that on a Post-it note. Make sure you remind yourselves of the empowering beliefs. Okay? And I want everyone to finish that process with whatever limited belief you put down. I want you to make sure that you shift it to be empowering. Okay? Take another 15 seconds. Embrace the silence. Now, we talked earlier that not every buyer will be qualified. What we found with Sandler, and Sandler's been around for over 60 years. For those of you who aren't familiar with Sandler, it's a sales process. We work with sales leaders, sales professionals, and we continuously fine-tune a system and build in the methodology. Well, what we find is that if a buyer is actually qualified, the number one excuse is not about your features and benefits. It's about the person who's looking back in the mirror. We've created an environment for them to have stalls or objections or to push back. So when you think about that for a second, I want you to think about how you can be different. What are you saying right now? Be honest with yourself. We've got about 20 different business professionals. Each of you have at least 100 competitors. Fair? Globally. If you had to really think about it, you have at least 100 competitors. Some of you might be a little more unique and new, but it's only a matter of time. And if you were to sit into their sales meeting and you had to listen to their unique value proposition, you're going to hear three things. We provide awesome customer service. We provide the best value. And we provide the most unique fill in the blank. I can promise you that, because every time I've ever run a session, I hear the same things. It's all about the features and benefits. So what I want you all to do is, if you have 4 colors, grab them. We're going to do an activity where we're going to change our message. And I am going to ask for a volunteer. Whoever volunteers, you do get the world's best message. So if you want to come off mute, I will ask. Morgan, you coming off to volunteer?
No. Thank you.
Okay, that's fair. Who wants to volunteer? Me and you will just go back and forth. You'll get the best message. And everyone's going to do the activity anyways. It's just,
Tanner, why don't you take this?
Len, who'd you volunteer?
I'm calling on Tanner to do this.
Cassandra. Or
All
Tanner.
right. Thank
Tanner.
you, Len.
I'm
All
sorry,
righty.
I misunderstood.
Who do you want? You're going to go with Cassandra?
Sure, Cassandra, and then I see Cassandra. So that,
All right.
that helps me out a little bit easier. So I want everybody to write your 3 features and benefits in red. So red pen, put one at the top, middle, and bottom of a blank piece of paper. Sandra, just tell me 3 things. What do you do? What do you provide?
We do provide really good customer service.
Customer service, all right. And again, I know I started with what not to put. We're going to start with everybody. So I want to, as I take Cassandra through, what type of customer service? So I want you just not to have one word, but what type of customer service?
So phone support.
Phone support, awesome. Okay.
We provide an easy to use platform.
Easy to use platform.
And we provide, and it is a good value.
Okay. Tell me more about the value. What value do you provide?
We have a lot of services into one platform that normally you would pay individually for, but we combined it all into one platform. So it's only one fee and one.
Keep going. So easy to use, easy to access, multiple modalities within one platform. So therefore integration it makes sense. Everyone's paper should look something like this, where you got your 3 features and benefits. And Cassandra, thank you for saying this. And now I want you never to say it again. All right. After that, we're not going to say it again. We're going to build ourselves a message, because let's be honest. Anyone else who's your competitor, aren't they saying they provide the best customer service? They're the easiest to use, even if it's not, and they provide the best value, right? The message is the same. What I want us to think about is, why would someone want to seek this out? Whether you're looking for capital or whether you're looking for prospects, people make decisions, not businesses. People are emotional beings. They're walking around this planet right now. There's 8 billion of us almost on this planet. How many do you need to have a thriving business? 5, 50, 500, 5,000? How many do you need? So what I want you to do is I want you to visualize that business owner, that potential prospect, that person. And I want you to tell me right now, Cassandra, why would they be seeking out excellent customer service and phone support? What frustration or excitement would they have in their world that they're going through that they would need to utilize your service?
Convenience.
Talk to me
Time.
more about convenience.
Having someone available to help them with any issues they might be experiencing in the moment.
So tell me more about, so in the moment, what's happening?
In the moment, maybe they're very frustrated because they need help with a product that's on our system that's like not loading, or we are able to talk to them and walk them through their issues.
Love it. So I wrote down, they need someone available in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's something on the prospect side. That's not something that you do. Notice the difference, everybody. I want to know why they would want to work with me. Because if you're at a networking event or you're giving a sales pitch or you're in front of a prospect, you want to talk so that their ears tickle around, oh, I have this challenge, or I know someone who has this challenge, not features and benefits. And for those of you who are displacing competitively held accounts, trust me, every business decision maker that you're talking to has heard every pitch before. So if you're talking features and benefits, all you're doing is saying the same thing, maybe with more passion, maybe with more desire than someone else, but you're saying the same thing in a different way. Next one, why would they want an easy use platform? Tell me about the history. Tell me about why they would want to convert. Because let's be honest, sometimes it's way more challenging to shift in the immediate future than it is in the long run, right?
Right.
So why would they want an easy to use platform?
In the long run, they will have more time to grow their business by having a platform that's easy to use. They won't be wasting time dealing with 5 different companies rather than using our platform, which is one company. So they'll have more time, which I think is very important for everybody.
Yeah. What I wrote down is looking for more time because they've wasted so much trying to herd multiple vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Does that resonate? Like, does that sound like
Right.
someone who would probably want to use your platform? Okay. And value. Tell me about the value to their business. Tell me about an excitement that they're looking for.
So we have shown that stores are increasing their sales by $3,000 to $5,000 a month on average.
So using your platform, they've grown.
Yes.
So they're excited to maybe grow in non-conventional ways.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone who's playing along at home, you may or may not look something like this, where you've got feature and benefit. Don't ever say that again. And now we've built the building blocks to your prospecting plan. Now, for full transparency, Cassandra, this is mine. This is the one I've created. It's got over 30 of them.
Wow.
Okay. You've got 3 building blocks. I challenge everybody who's on this call is don't stop at 3. Keep building. Talk to your clients. What are they looking for? Why did they use you? So talk to them and build it, because you can be flexible and use different messages in different environments. Everyone grab your green pen. People buy emotionally. They justify intellectually. So therefore, if you start with features and benefits, that's an intellectual. If you start with price, that's an intellectual. You got to start with emotion. Cassandra, I'm not done with you yet. I'm going to put them, now we need to put emotions to these people. Okay. So in front of these three phrases, someone who needs availability in the moment, what emotion are they feeling right now? Are they excited? Are they frustrated? What emotion are they currently feeling with this pain indicator?
They're frustrated.
Frustrated, okay.
Mm.
I put the emotion in green because green is going to equal sales. All right, they don't have an emotion, they're going to be very transactional. Okay, and yes, I understand some of your sales are transactional. They are e-commerce, they are online. When you're talking about partnerships and you're talking about channels and you're talking about more of the relational B2B sales, no connection, no sale, no emotion, no sale. Okay. What emotion does someone have who's looking for more time, that they're just wasting it on trying to herd these vendors together? What emotion are they having?
They're probably also feeling frustrated about that as well.
Okay, frustrated.
And
We're not gonna
maybe
use, go ahead.
sad or something, missing out on time they could be spending maybe with their family or doing something else that's growing their business.
All right, we could say disappointed, we can say tired, we can use any of these. Again, these are all what I would call negative indicators. Now let's go to the third one. Is they're excited? Well, I think we have an emotion, right? They're looking to grow in a non-conventional way.
Mhm.
What emotion do these professionals have?
Well, they're going to be excited, and they're going to feel very positive once they start receiving more money.
All right, so they're excited. I just highlighted excited.
Okay,
You already put the emotional word in there. This is my recipe. I like to go 2 doom and gloom, 1 positive. Right, Lisa? Yes, it's 2, because again, I want to speak to someone's frustration, to their tired. Yeah, I'm not looking to be a jerk. However, going back to my mindset, they're not frustrated, they're not excited, they're not tired, they're not going to go with me. That's just a matter of a fact. They're not going to invest time, energy, and resources to invest in something to change. They're just too busy. Last piece of the recipe is, who do you best want to talk to, Cassandra? So at the top of the page, who are your best decision makers? Are they the CEOs? Are they the CTOs? Who do you best want to talk to?
So I sell to small business owners, so I want to talk to the business owner.
Owner. Okay. Perfect. Now, everyone else, you can have multiple verticals. Okay. I sell to business professionals, I sell to owners, I sell to executives. Know your audience. You can put more, but don't say people like you. That's a sales line. Okay, so I'm going to put it together. And what I want you all to do is Roman style. Roman style just simply means thumbs up. Yeah, that could work for me if I was in Cassandra's world. Thumbs down, no, it doesn't work. Simple task. All I want you to do is listen. Okay. Oh, and Cassandra, what's the name of your company?
It's Bevs.
Devs?
BEVZ.
Perfect, Bevs. So, hey, Len, it's Bevs, or it's Mike from Bevs. I've been having conversations with business owners, and this is what I've heard. They're frustrated because they just need some availability in the moment, and they just haven't been able to get it when their website's not loading. They're just tired as they're looking for more time, that it's just wasted on herding all their different vendors and utilizing all their different services. And they're really excited about growing in non-conventional ways and new opportunities. Do any of these resonate with you? Pause. Thumbs up. Yeah, that sounds all right. If I was in that market, it would work for me. Thumbs down, no, it wouldn't. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. So it lives. Let's break it down. Okay. I introduce first name only. It's Mike from Bevs, right? Stop with the last name, stop with this typical sales talk. I've been talking to your decision makers, owners, business professionals, CTOs, CEOs. Don't say people like you. That's a general sales term, and it immediately turns the person off and their effective filters through the roof. I've been talking to fill in their positionality. If you don't know, use a general term, leaders, engineers, okay? And what they have been saying. Business development is a slight edge game. What they've been saying says, I listen. I'm consultative, I listen. Emotion 1, pain indicator 1. Emotion 2, pain indicator 2. Emotion 3, pain indicator 3. Okay? They are frustrated, they're tired, they're excited about these 3. Yes, they're features and benefits if you really dissect it. But if they don't have any of those indicators and they say, going back to Karen, no, none of these apply to me, I can then know that they're not qualified. They don't have many. And finish with, do any of these resonate with you? Business development is a game of tennis. If you don't ask a question, there's nothing for them to answer. How many of us have been on the receiving end of a sales call where someone spoke for 2 or 3 minutes? At a networking event where they spoke for 2 or 3 minutes. And it's like, geez, will you just let me talk? Or so stop talking and start listening. Okay. So I listen, what they've been saying, 3 pain indicators, and this, what we've just created right here, Cassandra, is what I'm going to use for everything that we're going to talk about for the next 22 to 37 minutes. Okay. I can tweak that for an email. I can tweak it for a phone call. I can tweak it for a LinkedIn message. I can tweak it for a networking event. I can tweak it for, I'm sitting down trying to get capital. But if I speak through pain, the person is going to say, yeah, that does resonate with me, or it doesn't. Sound like a plan as we kind of build this? So like I said, Cassandra, thanks for volunteering. Tanner, I know you wanted to jump in there, but I hope you're able to build that also. I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds to finish your thoughts. I'll stay off mute if you have any questions for me, but I know once 1:15 hits, you get the tidal wave of emails and responsibilities. So if you have a thought, put it on the paper, finish it up, and we'll move forward in about 30 seconds. Another 3 seconds, finish your thoughts. Anyone read Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
Anyone like to read out there? I know some
Yeah.
of us are too busy. Read it. It's a phenomenal book. Ryan, it's awesome, right? You read it. This is where this diagram is taken from. I like to use it as an analogy to sales. He uses analogies for quitting smoking, things like that. You get a cue, you want to smoke, you go to a bar, you smell it, you get the craving, you smoke, you get the reward, it's the same thing in sales. You get the cue or triggers, you need sales. So your craving is my bank account's getting lower, my cash flow's getting lower. So what do? You go and prospect. You go and try and find money. And think about it from a limited versus a proactive belief. You're going out there with the I need something versus I'm looking to build relationships. And that's a rhetorical question. Do not raise your hand. But how many of you have gone out there to prospect with a need? I need to go out and get capital. If I don't, this is going to happen. I need to go get my next clients. If I don't, think about it. Is your message going to be proactive, pain-oriented, or is it going to be, I can do this for you. I can do this. And you start to get aggressive. Anyone heard the term commission breath? When you've had someone call and they got that nasty commission breath, it just means they're overly aggressive. That's because they're going to their craving of their sales are down or they need it. And then the reward is they will get some business, but not the best business. They tend to get those low-hanging accounts, those people who are in dire need, and not really curating the relationships. So as we think over the next few minutes, I want you to build a plan. How can you prospect every day? I don't care if that's not your number one responsibility. Everyone who's on this call right now, you all do sales. It is your job to grow business in some way, shape, or form. Whether you're curating your team, whether you're in charge of sales yourself, or you're the rainmaker. And business development comes through you. I want you to write down, we've got 6 months left in the year. This is going to be an activity, do a screenshot. We're not going to have a ton of time to do this. But how many sales do you want? What do you want to achieve this year? Do you got another 500K you want to bring in? Is it another 5 million you want to bring in? Is it another 150? Well, how many sales do you need to get there? What's your average size sale? I understand you have different verticals. I also understand if you're e-commerce, right? It's different. So what I would recommend is that you create this activity more for your distribution. What would you want through your distribution, not on your direct sales, if you're e-commerce? How many presentations do you need to provide? Unless you're batting 1,000, and I've never met a sales professional that bats 1,000, you're going to have multiple no's in your life. So how many what's your conversion rate? Well, how many first meetings do you need to have? Now, looking at a group of entrepreneurs like yourselves, I'm going to guess it's very few one-call closes. I'm talking about that first call. How many first calls do you need that will lead to your next meeting? So therefore, you got to get some conversations. You got to get out there and mix it up. So how many conversations do you need? And then finally, well, what do you need to do to get them? Because unless you have a phenomenal marketing plan where you can't keep up with your leads, which is a great problem to have, it's more of a qualifying problem because they're probably consuming too much of your time. What are you going to do to go out there and find more conversations? Okay? I want you to think about, well, how many activities do I need to get? And what I find is most people who are entrepreneurs, founders, business owners, professionals with maybe sales teams of 1 to 6, they need to do anywhere between 50 to 150 activities a month. Those are my numbers that I get. And what I want you to do is I want you to create what's called a cookbook. Anyone out there bake or cook? Anyone? I'm in. What do you bake or cook?
I cook food.
All right. What's your go-to? What's your go-to?
I like all kinds of food, but I don't bake. I cook I like barbecuing, making pasta, salads, all kinds of stuff.
All right. Do you use a cookbook?
It's all up here, but yeah, I do. I've cooked for several years, so I used to use a cookbook a lot. Now
Okay.
I just kind of go with the flow and
All right.
make some things up, but I still love it.
All right. It probably have mixed results at the end. Sometimes it's phenomenal. Sometimes it's good. Fair?
Yeah, it's always a little different,
And that's the key to business development. I want it always to be phenomenal. I don't want it to be good sometimes. And if you have a cookbook, you know exactly what you're doing. This is even more practical in baking, right? A teaspoon of baking soda versus a cup of baking soda is the difference between, am I making some nice muffins or am I making hockey pucks, right? That does matter. So as I take you through, I want to give you some ideas of what a prospecting plan is. It's the types and quantities of activities that you're going to need to do to reach your goals. I'll give you some examples in a minute. When do you prospect? I can promise you, if you're a founder on this call, by 10 o'clock, you're already addressing at least one fire. A vendor's reaching out to you, a prospect's reaching out to you, someone's emailing you. You should be prospecting before 10 a.m. If it's important to you, do it. If it's important to you, do it before 10 a.m. Because if you wait until 3, I don't know if we have any parents out there, maybe you got to go get your kid, maybe something happened. And all of a sudden, prospecting becomes the back burner. And all of a sudden, you keep forgetting and you keep forgetting. And now it comes to a place of need. You're not at your quota yet. So when do you prospect? I would always advise before 10 a.m. When do you prepare? This is my rule of thumb. I spend 1 hour per month researching any lead. 1 hour a month. Now, this is rhetorical. Don't answer that. How many of you spend more than an hour a day, right? You get into LinkedIn, you get into these searches, and all of a sudden you're in there for 10, 30, 50, couple hours. 1 hour a month. Create your target, create your list, and once you have interest, then research. But until you have interest, stop spending hours and hours researching everybody. Because as you all know, it takes 7 engagements to find someone, and most of the people who are on your list are never ever going to talk to you. When you talk about 51% of them, just you'll never have a conversation with, and you're spending hours chasing them. An hour a month on your leads, use something like BuzzFile. If you have the capital, use ZoomInfo. I speak very highly of it. And then build your regularly scheduled prospecting behaviors. Put 30 to 60 minutes every single day. Do not do 3 hours on Friday. You want to talk about demotivating yourself? Go spend 5 hours doing cold calls and prospecting activities on a Friday. Do a little bit over the course of a long time. That's where your success will come from. Don't do a lot at once. So schedule them in and don't remove them from your calendar, move them. I understand sales calls are way more important. So if a sales call comes up, you move your prospecting later. But I'll show you my calendar. So as you can see, I will never take my prospecting off the calendar. Okay, it's always there. Now, if you notice, sometimes it gets overlapped, sometimes I'll extend it, but it never gets removed. It just gets moved. Therefore, for those of you who have calendar shares, you can't calendar over my prospecting time. I don't work at McDonald's. The the client is not always right. I'm professionally selfish. If I'm not growing and if my business isn't there, I can't service my clients. So prospecting is the lifeblood of your business. Okay. Glenn.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, what do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living?
Yeah.
I prospect for new.
Done. No, Glenn, I'm giving you the word. No one's ever said that before. They always, Cassandra, I'm going to you next. What do you do for a living?
Is this a trick question?
It is exactly what I just asked Glenn. What do you do for a living?
Prospecting?
You're a prospector. Go ahead, Amin. What do you do for a living?
I guess I prospect.
You are
I do.
all
I
prospectors first. When you have business, you get to do what you're passionate about. Everyone has that backwards. Is they do whatever they're passionate about first. And what happens? They're reactive to prospecting, or they avoid it, or they hire someone to find leads and the leads aren't the best. And you're prospector first and foremost. You get to do whatever you're passionate about after you get the conversation, after you get the business. So if you have that as a mindset, if you have that as an attitude, you're winning coming out of today. So what I want you all to do, I want you to take your pen, go to another blank piece of paper, And I want you to make 4 columns. Okay. In the first column, I want you to write behavior. In the second column, I want you to write goal. Third is actual. And fourth is results. I'm going to pause there for a second. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because I want to have your attention. I want you to ask you all, what is your goal in prospecting? And this is a real question. I want you to write it down. Each day, my goal is to create 2 new conversations that were not on my calendar when the day started, which means if it was a client or a prospect of mine and I got a new meeting from them because that doesn't count. I want 2 conversations that weren't on my calendar that when the day started to be on there before the day ends. That's my goal every day. That's a leading indicator. I can talk about leading indicators. I don't want to talk about sales. Behaviors guide sales. So I want you all to write down, what are your goals in prospecting? And it should be a conversation-based goal, a meeting-based goal, a new relationship-based goal. Put that at the top, okay? So now when we reverse engineer in, well, how are we going to get those conversations? Well, now I want you to write down 3 behaviors. Up here, you see 8 or 7. You can copy and use what I want. If you email me, and I think Len's given you all my email, I'll put it in the end. I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. In fact, I'll even drop it in the chat as we're talking. So you don't have to recreate this. Oh, can't add it. But email me, I'll send it to you all. What do you want to do? What are you currently doing? If you currently prospect, add 1 new behavior. So are you doing warm calls? Those are your inner circles. Those are your current clients. Are you doing cold calls? Trust me, people want to know that you exist. It just takes a lot of time and energy. Are you networking? How often? Just don't be that serial networker. Have strategy to it. Emails are important. Direct emails, not email marketing. Both are important, but I'm talking about in my cookbook, I'm putting direct emails, not a marketing plan. Those are 2 different things. Are you sending direct LinkedIn messages, or are you spamming every single person on LinkedIn with a feature and benefit statement? That's marketing. Are you trying to create strategic alliances on LinkedIn? Introductions or referrals. Are you trying to get 1 a day? Maybe it's a channel partner call so that you're staying top of mind, top of tongue with your distributors. Don't just reach out to them when you got a new and exciting new product. Are you reaching out to a potential funder? And that would be a behavior every single day. It's quantity with quality. If you do it every day and you track what you do over time, going back to atomic behavior, you're going to see your marginal gains. You're going to see success. So that's where the 3rd and the 4th column are incredibly important. What did you actually do?
There's a question in chat.
Okay, what did you actually do? I'll tell you. And then what was the result? I'll show you mine if you want. If you want to stay after 1:15, I'll show you mine. My goal is to get 2 conversations every day, right? I went in before today, I'm at 1 for the month. I'm at 1.27 for the year. I can tell you what my leading indicators are because I track them and I'm very specific. I know that I'm meeting and exceeding my goals as a business owner. And I can tell anyone what the next month is going to look like. As of now, August is going to be a good month, not a great month, because I'm at 1. If I'm below 1, I know it's going to be a tougher month. I'm not going to meet my goals. If it's above 1, I know I'm going to exceed my. So the difference between a warm call would be someone like a client. It would be someone like, and I'll get into this in a second, someone that you've worked with in the past. They would know your name. They would know who you are most likely. A channel partner is someone who sells your product or service. So a lot of you have distributors. a lot of electronic sales. So if you sell electronics, you don't go direct to the consumer. You typically sell to different stores. So your channel partners are your distributors, those who actually do the majority of your selling. Okay. What I want you all to do is I want you to put a K, A, R, or E next to each of your behaviors. If it's not balanced, you're not doing enough. K, what are you doing to keep your current investors and your current clients? You should be reaching out to them proactively and engaging them. That's a behavior. Most of your business is going to come from introductions from them. So what are you doing to keep your clients? Number 2, what are you doing to attain new clients? Obviously, that's probably what you're hearing a lot in today's message, going out and getting new capital, getting new business. So what's an A? What are you getting new conversation? R, if you're like myself and most other business professionals, sometimes people stop working with you, or maybe they fell out of your pipeline. They never did work with you. A pandemic happened, a recession happened, they went out of business, they moved companies. Go recapture them. Life changes. Go back and re-engage them. So what are you going to do to recapture them? And then finally, what are you going to do to expand your current business? I hate the term upsell, cross-sell, but if you're working with a franchise and you're only working in 1 or 2 of their locations, why aren't you everywhere? If they love what you're doing, the best compliment is an introduction. So what are you doing to expand into other markets, into other verticals, and expand their growth? Maybe it's you're only working with them in 1 or 2 platforms and you have a whole suite. So Cassandra, like you were saying, sometimes people might sample just a couple. Why aren't they doing everything with you? So after a couple months, are you reaching out to them to say, hey, I want to know how it's going. What can we do better? Where can we grow? Are you still frustrated with all these other? Would it make sense to have a conversation around expanding into all of these? If the answer is yeah, boom, now you're in a sales call. Prospecting leads to sales calls. Okay. I'll pause there for any questions. I have about 5 minutes where I want to talk about cadence, and then I'll open up to general Q&A. And Len, like I said when I was getting started, we can keep rolling. I don't have a training until 2, but we'll plan to stop at 1:15.
Sounds like a plan.
Any questions on the cookbook? I know that's a ton of information in a little bit amount of time. It's a lot of heavy lifting when you get off of here. I already gave you the task, write down 3 people's names. Now it's just a matter of reaching out to them. So, anyone know what the magic number is as far as going from not having a conversation to a conversation? How many outreaches there are? I said it earlier if you were listening.
7.
Ryan, Len, you got it. It's 7. Now put that into your limited belief. I am curious, how many of you have reached out 1, 2, or 3 times and then stopped because, oh, they probably saw my email or got my voice message or something, and you stopped? How many of us did that? Right? It's a limited belief. So what we want to do is we want to merge the belief is I'm going to give them the opportunity to say no. If you want my email cadence, email me, I'll send it to you. But it's involves 2 things. It's always the ability for yes, and it's always the ability for no. So what this looks like in my first email, it's pain indicators. Probably doesn't make sense to connect. Would it make sense to set up a time for a quick coffee? Or you're not interested? Yes or no? I want people to give me that answer, Karen, right? I want that no, because I don't want to keep sending, in fact, my number is 12, even though you see 6 here, because I'm going to run this cadence again in 6 or 12 months. I don't want to waste my time if they're not interested. I don't want to waste my time if they're retired, right? People are not always in the same position anymore. So my first email is, would it make sense to talk through these 3 pain indicators? Or should I take you off my list? Okay. Second, I pick up the phone and call. That is an underserved skill. It's an underserved behavior. People are picking up the phone. There's a limited belief, oh, people don't answer their phone anymore. If you're calling on business professionals, business owners, other founders, how many people are calling you that you don't know that you're your clients? People answer the phone. And if you have a compelling message, I've been talking to business owners, what they've been saying is pain point A, B, and C. They'll listen to you, they'll talk to you. If they don't, here's my voicemail. Lisa, I have a quick question. That's it. That's all I say. Lisa, I have a quick question. You can call me back on my cell phone. Not Mike from Sandler, call, I got the best deal. I don't want my prospect to make a decision without me present. It's not a trick. So when they call back and they say, hey, Mike, what's your question? It's Mike from Sandler Training. Does that ring a bell? No. Can I take 20 quick seconds, tell you while I was reaching out? You can let me know if we should keep talking. Yeah, go ahead. I've been talking to business owners. And they're like, oh, is this a sales call? I've been reaching out to local leaders, and what they've been saying is this. Do any of these resonate with you? No, take me off your list, click. Or, yeah, I'm really struggling with these. Tell me more about that. And now we're in a conversation. So I have a quick question. Here's my cell. Email 2 is simply a follow-up to email 1. And all it says is, Lisa, Mike from Sandler figured I'd reach out to my previous message. If you could respond one way or the other, I'd appreciate it. Just a reminder, you know what my number 1 response from this email is? My number 1 and number 2? I'm sorry and thank you. I'm sorry, I saw this. Okay, because every single person in my cadence in my network has experienced this. Len, you've experienced this cadence, right? You've gone through, I mean, you've seen my cut and pastes as we were setting up this meeting, okay? The email, it doesn't, I cut and paste 80% and then I tweak it to each situation. So that was it. I respond to that email. Can you follow up one way or the other? Because remember, the first one was yes or no. Call again, no voice message. Reach out on social media. If I have a connection with them, I'll shoot them a LinkedIn message. If I don't have a connection with them, I'll connect with them. And then I'll close the file. Everybody, you got to take it away from them. Sales is not about convincing. It's about finding the right relationships. So if I say, and this just happened to me yesterday, Lisa, sent a couple messages, haven't heard back. I got a feeling you're not interested. I'm going to close the file. I won't reach out to you further. I wish you the best of luck. Unless I'm mistaken, let me know. He responded and said, I'm overseas working on some projects. Let's connect. He didn't want it to be taken away from him. If people are interested, they will respond to one of these 3 cadence. But you got to take it away, because raise your hand. How many of you, this person's just going to reach out again? And I'll wait. They'll just reach it. You got to take it away from them. And once you take it away from them, now they'll let you know, ooh, no, I do want that, but it's not the right time. So that, and then what I'll do in 6 or 12 months, I'll reconnect. I know a lot has changed. Would it make sense to reconnect? Okay. And then I go through my cadence. And then after 2 times through my cadence cold, it's closed, it's gone. They're not interested. Now, if Len would introduce me to someone, I take them through this. If it's a client of mine, because I'm doing my care calls, I haven't connected with, I'm going to take them all the way through it. If it's someone who is an inbound lead, I'm going to take them through this. It doesn't matter who you are in my world. I'm going to take you through a cadence. I'm not going to lose business because I forgot. And this is a rhetorical question for you all. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I want you to own this. How many of you have lost business because you never followed up? Don't raise your hand, right? Because we're all guilty of it. We've all lost track. And then maybe when you do connect, something happened. Oh, I did want to, but don't lose business because you forgot. Close the file, get the no, so that you can say, I'm moving forward. And I can clear that mental space, continue to prospect every single day, because I want to fill my pipeline. I want to have the mindset, I don't need the business. I want to help people. And if you have that as a mindset, you're going to be more apt to ask better questions. You're going to be more apt to be curious. versus going out like that 1980s used car salesperson and trying to force them into buying that red Mustang. Right? You don't want to trick anyone. You don't want buyer's remorse. It's 2023. The world is too competitive right now. And for the most part, you all aren't doing transactional sales. So I'm going to finish there. Just as far as Q&A, I'll pause. Any specific questions coming through? I can talk through, I can role play some of this stuff out, but I want to spend the last 10 minutes Q&A. I want it to be as most relevant for you all. I can Q&A, or I can model some stuff if you want. So I'll pause, embrace the awkward silence, Glenn, and any questions out there, any struggles that you're facing. And you can also just type it into the chat. You don't have to come off mute if you're.
So Mike, while people are thinking of their brilliant questions, let me throw one at you. So in my sales process, I start with suspects.
Yep.
And then move suspects to prospects by doing some research to make sure that those prospects are proper targets.
So 1 hour a month is exactly what I was talking about.
That's moving suspects to prospects. Do that.
I spend an hour a month looking for suspects. I get a list. For me, my numbers are, I want about 150 suspects a month to work through. Okay. I make those numbers you saw is my cookbook. And I'll show you if anyone wants to stay after 115. I make about 20 dials every day, 5 warm, 15 cold every single day. Haven't missed my behaviors in 2 years. Okay. Take my suspects, either disqualify them, they're not interested, or I qualify them, set up an appointment, or set up a clear next steps. And I use HubSpot. So for those of you who want a great CRM, free for individuals, a little bit more as you start to add a sales team, HubSpot's what I use. Love it. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, thanks again for the training. That was great. I just wanted to take a moment to clarify if you have any either software systems or just like pen and paper systems that help you maintain that cadence as well as the routine of care. I understand it's like a lot of moving parts, and I've seen that firsthand when you have like 9 people on the plate who you could follow up with, and then each one's their own step in the cycle. That's something that I've struggled with, and I want to just ask you if there's any way to move things forward on that side, if you have any systems that you can implement.
So feel free to take a screen. Here's my current system. As you see across the top, email 1, email 2, email 3, call 1, 2, and LinkedIn. And all I do is just rotate through, right? I can show you June. Here's my June numbers. Orange means, so Len, this is exactly what I was talking about. Red is they're completely disqualified. I move them out. Orange is they were interested. So now they're in my CRM. And yellow would mean that they scheduled a call. And I get about anywhere from 1 to 3 yellows every 150. So Ryan, all I do is I take it and then I infuse it into HubSpot. So once they become qualified, which means they fog a glass, they are interested, just not the right time, or they're interested like Adam here. He wanted to attend one of my open sessions. He's now in my CRM. So this is what I would recommend as you're getting started, is just make sure that you keep track of it every single day.
Well, thanks. This is what I was looking for.
And then HubSpot is what I would use to automate your tasks. So once they're in there, then just start to create a task every 3 days. A lot of people ask me how long in between each of my cadence is at least 3 days. So don't do it every single day. People travel. People are on projects. People are busy. If you do it every single day, it comes off needy and annoying. If you build it off where it's every 3 business days, that's either once or twice a week, depending, because please don't be the person who emails Friday afternoon and then again Monday morning. 0 business hours have passed. Not everyone is combing their emails over the weekend like all of us. Okay? 3 business days is what I typically do. So for my behaviors I did today, I will re-engage them on Friday. So 3 business days.
Thanks.
You got it. As far as people who are new to an insular energy industry, whenever you're new to an industry, I would suggest creating behaviors around connections. So what are 2 or 3 mentors in the industry that you need to connect with? What we talked about today, you can create towards prospecting, towards mentorship, towards building capital. If you build a goal, you write it and you track it, you will achieve it. So if you're new to an industry, I would always want to connect with mentors and those who've been there longer than I have. Some of them aren't going to take your call, but many of them will. Learn from them, and then obviously make as many meaningful connections as you can. All right. So that would be my suggestion for those who are new to an industry, is build your plan on the idea of relationships, not on selling. Yes, you want to sell. Yes, obviously cash flow is king, right? You need to have sales coming in, but you have to think long term. Okay. No one wants to be convinced.
So I just want to follow up on Lisa's question or thought, just mentally working through the best way to leverage this. This meaning the sales process, Lisa, or can you redefine what you're asking?
Oh, it wasn't a question. I was just responding to when Michael was talking about, like, you know, us working through our mental processes. So I honestly, so to the point I think Michael was just making, I can see taking all of this information and one framing it around. So like an example would be, we have annual catalogs of books and like audiobooks and so on that are coming out. So framing it around like, hey, you know, this is our catalog of stories that's coming out. And then I can do it and seeing what bookstores would be most relevant for this, what producers might be most interested, and then doing a different framing in terms of potential prospects around regional stories, right? Because some
And you
places they
want to
only
tweak your message from a pain, not a here's our offering. It's the
exactly.
question for me would be, are you frustrated with old stale content? Are you excited about new interesting stories? If so, would it make sense to connect?
Right, exactly.
It
Yep.
applies in whether it's content, whether it's a product or sorry, Lisa, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
No. Well, that's where I was going, is for each one, whatever those pains are, it's going to be very different because they're all going to have different desires, right?
Beautiful. So going back to why 3? Well, 3 is just the starting point.
Right.
As you can see, I've got 30. And I like 3 because it casts a net. Mine is, I talk to business professionals who are frustrated with not getting in front of enough new qualified prospects. Those who are tired with missed opportunities in their sales pipeline. Notice 2 completely different features or benefits that I do. Prospecting versus sales, or those who are excited about empowering their sales leaders. So 3 different opportunities. And if they say no, well, then I have another question. Oh, are you at a point where you're hiring new sales professionals?
Yep.
So then,
Sorry.
No, go ahead,
I was
Lisa.
just, or like, what is it that you're most concerned about or most interested in? Like, what is it that you're experiencing now? And not inserting myself into it, but genuinely finding out what is it they're looking for, right? And then and that also helps me figure out if this is the right relationship or not, right?
That's the goal, is I don't want to waste their time. More importantly, I don't want to waste my time.
Exactly.
You know, I say it on their end, I don't want to waste your time, but I mean it. I'm too busy and I don't want to sell it. I don't want to convince anybody, right? You are all at a point where you have a great product or service. You shouldn't have to convince them. And I want to be conscious of everybody's time. I'm going to keep chatting, but 2 things. I'm going to ask for a favor. We talked about, I want a clear yes, a clear no. I'm not going to spam you all, right? Obviously, Len brought me in here to give you some information. If you're curious about learning more about how we might be able to partner, click on my name. You don't put this in the main chat, but click on my name and just simply put yes. If you put yes, I'll reach out to you. We'll set up a quick intro call, learn more about each other's business, see if there's room to collaborate. That's not of interest to you. Don't put anything in the chat. However, I do an open session every month. My next one's more on the sales system. So today we talked a lot about prospecting. We'll talk mindset first, but then we're going to talk about the sales system and then think it over and go overcoming obstacles. If you're interested, that is free. It's in August. The link is in the chat. Click on it. You can RSVP for that. However, if you are interested in connecting with me for a one-on-one, learn more about how we could collaborate, whether you're growing a sales team or yourself, I'm more than happy to schedule a time. So just simply click on my name and put yes. I'm not, like I said to Lon, I'm not going to spam you all, but I'm here. If you have any questions, if you want me to show you my cookbook, I'm happy to show all that.
All right. I want to thank you, Michael, for a very informative and interactive session. I really appreciate the energy that you put into this, and the information is awesome. You know, I have takeaways from this too. So I think following the process is really, really important. And that's my biggest takeaway, is make sure I'm following a process, and not just, you know, as Amin left already, but he was talking how he cooks from what's inside his head and not from the cookbook. You know, I know all of my recipes in my head, but darn it, I always pull out the recipe when I'm cooking to make sure I'm not missing something.
And sometimes we don't, and sometimes it's not as good. And for so many business professionals I've worked with, it's the ideas I forgot. Not because of any other than the fact that you just were doing what great things you do to get to where you are today.
Yep.
It's the same idea. Are you religiously going and tracking and holding yourself accountable, or is a couple times it's sneaking by?
So with that, I think that's a great place to leave it off. Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating and being on the call today. And we'll look forward to our next Preccelerator University workshop, which is on July 25th, Tuesday, July 25th. And if you want to learn about cap tables and how to keep track of your investors, this will be a great experience for you. So with that, thank you all.
Thank you, guys.